Welcome to the Be Smart podcast, how not to be an idiot with your money. Jared, we've been on a bit of a break here, so I'm not even sure where to begin. There's so much that's gone down. You want to start with acknowledging the Biden news?
About him with cancer, you mean?
Yeah. So he was diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer. Some of the key points here. He received the diagnosis of prostate cancer with metastasis to the bone just months after leaving office. Treatment options are being reviewed by Biden, his family, and physicians. The diagnosis arrives as Biden has come under scrutiny for age-related mental and physical declines he suffered while he was president. So there's so much talk out there about a cover-up.
There's 100% a cover-up. Like, they're saying the cancer is in his bones. That takes like 8 months to happen. Like, he was diagnosed while he was in office. They wanted to run Biden. They knew he would pass away. They knew that Kamala would become president. Like, the irony is that Kamala would have been president if she didn't run for president, right? Like, so I think there is like 0.0001% chance that he developed this cancer and was actually diagnosed after he left office.
I mean, why did he pull out of the race then? It just got to the point where it was too obvious.
Because of that debate with Trump, you know.
Right.
Like, so.
Well, I think it's kind of unfair that a lot of people are just piling on him now with the mental health stuff. Like, in terms of that being a cover up, I mean, no, you can't really cover up something that everybody can see with their own eyes. Like, everyone knew this guy had cognitive decline even before the notorious Trump debate. So I don't know, Jake Tapper's out there. He's got to sell his books and all that shit. But I don't know. I feel like it's a little gross, to be honest with you. Like, this guy, like, come on, Joe Biden, he's been diagnosed with cancer. Can we just be like human beings?
No, not for a second. We can't. No, not in politics. This is why I'll never run for office. Look, I think I have good ideas. Like, I think that I would love to run for the mayor of my hometown in Connecticut. Like, I think I think I could do a lot of good. I'm not getting involved in politics. It's so dirty. Like, I don't want to get involved in that. Like, half the people love you, half the people hate you. Like, I don't want to do that.
One more thing about this, and then I'll shut up. So Trump posted this on Truth Social after the news broke about Biden. Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery. You know what I find nuts about this? People were either like taken aback by Trump's bare minimum form of humanity, or they were just like kissing his ass for showing some presidential compassion. Has anyone to you, Jared, had a lower bar to cover? I mean, this is wild. I also don't think he even wrote this, because I'm looking at this.
No. It's not his usual style.
You got no caps, no exclamations. And look, there's a comma in the correct place. So I don't know why we're kissing Trump's ass over this. Like, that's just like the bare minimum a president should do, is issue a statement like this. Anyway, ran over. You want to go to the market headlines?
Yeah.
I guess that's technically a market headline, but more market specific stuff. From Yahoo Finance, the House votes on Trump's big, beautiful bill after the GOP set out more generous SALT break. The bill now includes a more generous deduction for state and local taxes aimed at meeting demands from conservatives, along with other concessions. The bill's overall price tag has raised the ire of deficit hawks, spooked bond markets, and was cited by Moody's during a recent downgrade of U.S. creditworthiness, but it has done little to dissuade Trump. Can you talk a little about this Moody's U.S. debt downgrade? I know you wrote about it.
There's a whole bunch to talk about here. First of all, let's back up a second and talk about the SALT deductions. They want to phase out these deductions for people in higher incomes, like above $500,000. So if you have an income of $500,000 and you have $40,000 in state and local taxes, you might as well just take the standard deduction. Like, this doesn't really save anybody any money. Like, now I make more than $500,000. So, like, I pay about $50,000 a year in state and local taxes. like that the SALT deduction would help me a lot, but they're phasing it out at higher levels of income. But this bill is not deficit neutral, to say the least. The Moody's downgrade, first of all, S&P downgraded U.S. debt in 2011, basically because of the complete dysfunction around the debt ceiling. S&P was correct in doing that. Moody's is correct in doing the downgrade today. I think the downgrade has spooked the bond market a little bit. Bonds have just been getting annihilated like over the last week and a half. This is a serious thing. This is a serious credit crisis for the United States. Like, the bond market is not a mess because of duration. The bond market is a mess because of credit. If you look at credit default swaps on the US, they're gapping higher. Basically when Trump was elected, everyone's like, yes, Doge, we're going to cut $1 trillion or $2 trillion out of the budget. We're gonna lower some taxes too, but they're gonna be pro-growth tax cuts. We're gonna grow our way out of the deficit. None of this is happening. Doge was ineffective. We're actually doing anti-growth tax cuts. We're not gonna grow our way out of the deficit. We're adding on more spending. Lynn Alden, who I've never met in person, but I like her a lot. We've corresponded a bunch over the years. She has this thing on her Twitter feed where she says nothing stops this train, right? And she has been saying for years that it doesn't matter who is in power, the deficit is going to keep getting bigger. Now, Lynn Alden cares because she's a real Bitcoin person. Like, she thinks Bitcoin is a solution to this. I'm not a Bitcoin person. I'm a gold person. We're both going to be right? Bitcoin is making new highs, but we're both going to end up being right on this.
And we're going to get to Bitcoin and gold in a second. But this is what you're kind of talking about when you wrote in your piece on jareddillionmoney.com that we are living in the, quote, bad new days. What's worst case scenario here with this situation?
Well, the worst case scenario, first of all, I don't want to alarm anybody. It's not as if the country is going to fall apart next week. This is a very slow process. It's taken us 20 years to get to this point. It's probably going to take another 20 years to get to a real crisis. But here's what's going to happen. We're going to pass this big, beautiful bill. It's going to expand the deficit. We're going to have over a $2 trillion deficit this year. The bond market's going to get sloppy. Interest rates are going to go up. You're going to be looking at mortgage rates of 9 or 10%. And you're going to be looking at interest expense on the budget of about $2 trillion. And we really will be insolvent. At which point the government says to the Fed, hey, you need to cap interest rates at 4.5%, right? So then we're doing yield curve control. We're printing an unlimited amount of money, and that's how you get to hyperinflation. That's how Argentina got to 200% inflation by monetizing the debt. That's what happened to Weimar Germany. That's what happened to Zimbabwe. We're going to be monetizing the debt. And like I said, this is going to take a long time to play out. It's not going to happen next week. It's going to happen over the course of many, many years. But like Lynn Alden said, nothing stops this train. Part of this is we could get mad at Congress and say they're a bunch of idiots, but they're a bunch of idiots because a bunch of idiots elected them. Because no American citizen is really agitating for deficit reduction, right? There's no Joe Blow, the plumber, doesn't care about the deficit. People cared about the deficit in the 90s. They don't care about it today. There was a poll in the 90s that asked, would you be willing to accept higher taxes if we could reduce the deficit? And 60% of people said yes. Nowadays, 23% of people say yes. People are not willing to make sacrifices to solve this problem.
Let's jump over to gold and Bitcoin. This is from Forbes. Ticking time bomb. $40 trillion big print Fed fears spark wild Bitcoin price predictions. So Bitcoin, as you had mentioned earlier, has surged to an all-time high of around 112K per Bitcoin, soaring amid a flood of hyper-bullish Bitcoin price predictions. Now JP Morgan analysts are flipping from gold to Bitcoin, predicting Bitcoin will outperform gold over the rest of 2025. Bitcoin versus gold. Break it down for me. What do you think?
I wrote an article in 2015, which is funny. I wrote it for ETF.com. I was writing for ETF.com back then. And I wrote this article called Bitcoin Faces Obsolescence, right? Now, keep in mind, Bitcoin was like at $200 at the time, right? And I'm writing this article that says that Bitcoin faces obsolescence. But basically what I said was, look, like, Bitcoin is not immune from innovation, right? Like, what happens if we get quantum computing, right? And all of cryptography is totally meaningless. What happens to Bitcoin, And that was really the question I was asking. Like, gold, you cannot do that with gold, right? Like, I would bet Bitcoin is not going to be around 100 years from now, but gold is definitely going to be around 100 years from now. That's what I care about.
And following up on this headline, traders are closely watching the bond market for signs that the Fed will have to step in, branded the big print by some Bitcoin price bulls who are predicting the return of quantitative easing. You've mentioned QE is not really on the table. This is a yield curve thing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, one more headline, and then we're going to move on and talk about your writing retreat a little bit. So from USA Today, Walmart responds to Trump's directive to, quote, eat the tariffs. Trump and Walmart are beefing over the impact of the administration's tariffs after the company's announcement of impending price hikes. Trump blasted Walmart on social media, accusing Walmart of unfairly blaming his tariffs for their expected price increases and ordering the world's largest retailer to eat the tariffs and not pass the import costs on to consumers. I'll be watching, Trump said, and so will your customers! Exclamation ×3. That was on May 17. Walmart's not going to eat the tariffs, are they? I mean, import costs, they're going to be passed on to consumers. Hasn't this been painfully obvious since Trump started this whole nonsense?
Walmart has a profit margin of 2.9%. Okay. So for every 100 billion they make 2.9 billion. They can eat some of the tariffs, but literally, like, what country are we living in? If this was like 1999, and let's say I'm from the future and I go to 1999 and I tell people what's going to happen, we're going to have tariffs of like 145% on China, and we're going to have a president that is going to tell businesses, private businesses, to absorb the losses from the tariffs. Like people wouldn't believe it. Like, I remember, just to show you how far we've come, like back in 2001, Lou Dobbs, who passed away about 6 months ago, I mean, he was like really the pioneer of this anti-free trade movement. He started going on TV and talking about tariffs and protectionism and stuff like that. And he was so out of touch with the zeitgeist. Everybody was free trade at the time. They're like, dude, you are an idiot. You are completely nuts. And he persisted. And over the course of 25 years, like, now it's become, this is what we do, All
right, enough of this. Let's have some fun. Let's talk your writing retreat. I'm done with this big, beautiful bill bullshit and all this. I can't believe that's actually the name of the bill. That's so Trump. All right, anyway, we talked about this on the phone a little bit on Monday, but how was your writing retreat? Gonna let the people know?
It was one of the best weeks of my life. It was incredible. So I'll go through the whole thing. I got an Airbnb, which was about 1.5 miles from town. It was a condo. It wasn't a very nice condo. It was okay. But it was fine. And so I land in Memphis. I drive to Oxford. I check into the Airbnb, and then I go downtown. Downtown Oxford is one of the coolest small towns I have ever been in. Cool stores, cool restaurants, people walking around. So most of my days, I would go to the coffee shop in Oxford, and I would get a coffee, and I would sit at a table, and I would just write for like 4 hours. I would write from like 8 a.m. until 7 a.m. until 11. And then I would go back to my condo and get some lunch. And then I would come back and I would write for another 4 hours. And I did this every day for a week. And it was awesome. It was awesome. I got so much done. It was incredible. So I finished the Awesome Portfolio book, which I'm actually pretty excited about. I think it's pretty good. And I got the first 15,000 words of Inflation Fighter done, which is just a working title, may not be the ultimate title. The writing is not my best, but I'm very happy with the story. The plot is really, really cool. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. So now the goal is to finish it while I'm doing all my other stuff. So also, Square Books in Oxford, one of the best bookstores I've ever been to. Incredible bookstore. And they actually have 3 bookstores. They have like one main bookstore, and they have like Square Junior for kids. Then they have this other bookstore for like self-help books and cookbooks and stuff like that. There are actually 3 bookstores in this town square. It's incredible.
You mentioned that you picked up a copy of Conversations with Barry Hannah and you had rave reviews for it. You told me to get it. I went on Amazon, out of stock, but I found one on eBay and it is coming in the mail and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's University of Mississippi Press. It's not a big press. I read the whole thing. It's very interesting. You know, in the early interviews, he's drinking like a fish, and then he's like, "Oh my God, I'm sober." And then like the next interview, he's like drinking during the interview. Then he's like, "No, I'm not drinking. I haven't drank for a couple of years." Like you can just tell he was like on and off like his entire life. It's really interesting to see how he speaks. He speaks like he writes. Like it's really incredible. I learned so much from it.
Yeah, that's one of the best sentence level writers I've ever come across.
The best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do a little top 3 short story collections. You got 3 off the top of your head?
The only short story collections I was really reading were the Best American Short Stories, you know, those anthologies. And those were good up until about 2008, 2010. And then they started to suck. I didn't buy them for a number of years. I bought the last couple. They are terrible. The O. Henry collections are pretty good. You know, I'm going to, like, after I finish this book, I'm going to start on Ray Carver. I'm going to start on that tonight, probably. And of course, mine. This is one of the best short story collections ever.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes. And obviously Airships has got to be on your list.
Oh, like, it's funny because I'm just finishing up High Lonesome. And like High Lonesome is really good, but High Lonesome came out, I think, in 94, and Airships came out in 1980. And like Airships is so genius, it cannot possibly be replicated, right? Like it's just mad genius, you know? And it's funny, if you go on the Amazon website, I went there last night to check out the reviews for Airships. It has a 3.7 on Amazon. Everyone's like, this sucks. Like, it's...
How's that possible? I think you've said it before, but he's like every writer's favorite writer.
Yeah. Yeah.
High Lonesome, that's the book I have that's signed by Barry Hannah. You just got another one, right?
Yeah,
Besides
Night
Airships.
Watchman.
Night Watchman, yeah.
Now, Night Watchman was his second book. Geronimo Rex was his first book. Night Watchman was his second book. Night Watchman, they printed 5,000 hardcovers. The reviewers shit all over it. Everybody hated the book. It never went to paperback. So I got one of the original hardcovers that's signed.
Okay, you want to just briefly go to the week ahead? Anything you're looking forward to next week? We are recording this on Thursday, May 22, ahead of Memorial Day, by the way. You just looking to get your hands dirty and get back into trading?
I kind of have low conviction on everything right now. Like, look, like, I wish I was short bonds. I missed it. I actually was long like 3 weeks ago, and sold it, and I missed the move lower. But I don't really have strong conviction on anything right now. So I'm just trying to lay low for the rest of the month. I have my DJ gig in Vegas next Friday the 30th.
That's coming up fast.
Yeah.
Nice. You excited for that?
No.
Nervous?
Yeah.
Not excited. Yeah. Yeah, that's nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck. I mean, that should be pretty sweet though.
Yep.
That wraps it up for this week's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, drop us a comment, drop us a question. We'll address it next week. Jared, I'll talk to you here soon. Later.
See ya.